Good morning, students. Today we are going to see about a very important part of the cardiovascular system, that is the blood vessels. So, what are blood vessels? Blood vessels contribute a very important role in maintaining the homeostasis of the body. They provide the structures for the flow of blood to and from the heart, and also they play an important role in the exchange of nutrients and waste in the tissues. They also play a very important role in adjusting the rate of the blood flow and the volume of blood flow. Now we will see what are blood vessels. You can see from the picture in the right the distribution of the blood starting from the heart to all the different parts of the body. So what are blood vessels? So blood vessels are structures that are involved in a very important task of the body, that is the circulation. So they are called as blood vessels. They form a closed system of tubes that carry blood away from the heart to the different parts of the body, transports it to the tissues of the body, and also returns to the heart. So, what are the important roles of blood vessels? So, you can see the blood vessels contribute to the homeostasis of the body, exchange of nutrients and waste in tissue, and also role in adjusting the velocity and volume of blood flow. So, the cardiovascular system is a very important physiological system that contributes to the homeostasis of the body. What is the function? They transport blood and also distribute the blood throughout the body. They also deliver and exchange important nutrients and also carry the waste to be uh, excreted out. They also play a very important role in adjusting the velocity. What do you mean by velocity? They adjust the flow rate of the blood through the different parts of the body and also the blood vessels by a process called as constriction and dilation. And also by this they can adjust the volume of blood flow through the different parts of the body. In this chapter, we will focus on the structure and functions of the various types of blood, the hemodynamics. Hemo means blood, dynamics means power. That is the forces involved in the circulating blood throughout the body. And also the blood vessels that constitute the major circulatory system. You can see from the picture that the left side of the heart receives oxygenated blood from the lungs and the right side of the heart receives deoxygenated blood from the different parts of the body. The right side of the heart pumps blood through the lungs and also enable blood to pick up oxygen and unload carbon dioxide. Whereas the left side of the heart pumps blood throughout the body to a distance of around 1 lakh kilometers of blood vessels. Now we will see the structure and functions of blood vessels. So how many types of blood vessels are there in the body? There are about 5 main types of blood vessels. They are arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules and veins. So what are arteries? Arteries are those blood vessels that carry the blood away from the heart to the other organs. So they start from the heart through the blood vessel, major blood vessel, that is the artery called as the aorta. There are different types of arteries, for example, elastic arteries and muscular arteries. So, large elastic arteries leave the heart, for example, aorta, and they divide into many medium sized arteries which are muscular in nature and they are called as muscular arteries. These muscular arteries further branch out in the various parts of the body or organs or organ systems. From that, medium sized arteries divide into many smaller arteries, which in turn divides into still smaller arteries called as arterioles. When the arterioles enter a tissue, they branch into numerous tiny vessels called as capillaries. So, the thin walls of the capillaries will allow the exchange of substances between the blood and the body tissues through the interstitial fluid. Now, the capillaries reunite near the tissue to form small veins called as the venules. These venules in turn merge to form a larger blood vessel called as veins. So, veins are the blood vessels that convey blood from the tissues back to the heart. So, they carry all the impurities and the carbon dioxide from the tissues to the heart and to the lungs for purification. The bigger veins carry the impure blood from the different parts of the body and enter into the right side of the heart through the superior and inferior vena cava. Now we'll see the basic structure of the blood vessel. So from the picture you can see that the wall of the blood vessel is made up of many different layers. So they are called as the tunics. So the wall of the blood vessel is made up of 3 layers, that is consisting of different tissues. An epithelial inner lining, the inner lining of the blood vessel which is close to the blood, flowing blood, is called as the epithelium. That is epithelial inner lining. Then a middle layer of the smooth muscles and elastic connective tissues, and a outer layer of connective tissues. From the picture you can see there are 3 layers, important structural layers in almost all the type of blood vessels. From innermost to the outermost, they are called as the tunica interna, tunica media, and tunica externa. All the different types of blood vessels, whether it is arteries or arterioles, veins or venules or capillaries, are made up of all these 3 types of layers which make up the walls of the blood vessel. So they vary in different parts. So they are not the same in all the 5 different types of blood vessels. They vary accordingly. They can alter the flow rate and volume of the blood vessels flowing in that particular area. Now we will see the innermost layer of the walls of the blood vessel. The innermost layer is called as the tunica interna. So tunica interna forms the inner lining of the blood vessel, and you can see it is directly in contact with the blood vessel. So this layer has multiple parts, as you can see: endothelium, basement membrane, and also the internal elastic lamina. You can see this particular endothelium is not very thick. It is very thin, and it is the continuous lining with the endocardial lining of the heart. The endothelium, you can see it is a thin layer of flattened cells that line the inner surface of the entire cardiovascular system, heart, and the blood vessel. Because the endothelial layer is in close contact with the flowing blood, it plays a very important role in the flow of the blood, the diameter and speed of the blood. So they secrete many chemical mediators. They are called as local chemical mediators that will have an effect on the contractile state of the blood vessel, that is the contraction and relaxation of the blood vessel. After the endothelium, the second layer is called as the basement membrane. So what is the basement membrane? You can see that yellow color layer which is present after the endothelium is called as the basement membrane. So it provides physical strength, physical support for the innermost layer of the blood vessel. It is made up of collagen fibers, and also they give tensile strength to the blood vessel. So it is very important for the stretching property of the blood vessels. So they are very important in stretching and recoiling. So when the blood vessel contract and relax, they should have this elastic property so that they can recoil when the function is over. This basement membrane anchors the endothelium to the outer connective tissue layers. So it plays a very important role in guiding or having a control over the cell movement during the tissue repair of the blood vessels. The next outermost layer of the tunica interna is the internal elastic lamina. This is a very important structure. It is made up of thin elastic fibers, and you can see there is a lot of pore-like structures. They are called as the window-like openings. So they are very important to facilitate the diffusion of materials through the tunica interna to the next layer, that is the tunica media. The next important layer is called as the tunica media, which is present in between the tunica interna and the tunica externa. So they are made up of the inner smooth muscles and external elastic laminae. These smooth muscles are circular in nature, and they cover the entire diameter of the blood vessel. So they are also elastic in nature and play a very important role in the rate of the, that is in controlling the rate of the blood flow, and also in the regulating the blood pressure. Both the smooth muscles and the external elastic lamina play a very important role during injury. So they prevent the escape of blood from the blood vessel during injury, and they also regulate the blood flow and the blood pressure. The external elastic lamina separates the tunica media from the tunica externa. The elastic lamina is richly supplied with nerves, and they are also present in numerous amount in larger blood vessels. Actually, there are so many tiny blood vessels which supply the larger blood vessels. These tiny blood vessels that supply or they branch into the larger blood vessels are called as vasa vasorum. The tunica externa is the external and the final outer covering of the blood vessel, and they are made up of elastic and collagen fibers. In this picture, you can see two different pictures, one of the artery and the veins. So you can see the different layers of the blood vessels are not the same for the arteries and the vein. So they are different. The thickness of each and every layer of the tunica interna, tunica media, and the tunica externa varies in both the artery and the vein. So this particular picture on the above shows the capillaries. So you can see how the capillaries are the smallest blood vessels that are in touch with the arterioles and the venules, and they transport the nutrients and the waste materials from the capillaries to the tissues through the interstitial fluid. And the picture in the between, you can see the cross sectional or the transverse sectional view of an artery. So you can see the different layers, the inner blood lumen where the blood cells or the blood flows through the lumen, and to the outside you can see the different layers of the walls of the blood, the internal elastic lamina, external elastic lamina. So you can see the internal and the external elastic lamina are thickened in nature, and they have elastic properties. They can stretch to a large extent, and they can recoil, so that they play a very important role in the dilation and constriction of the blood vessels. So they are supported by muscular systems. So the muscles contract and relax, which will enable the constriction and the dilation of the blood vessels. So there are other layers also. You can see the tunica interna, tunica media, and the tunica externa, and you can see so many connective tissues also. The last picture shows the red blood cells passing through the capillary. You know that the capillaries are the smallest blood vessels which transport nutrients to the tissues, to the cells. Actually, the cells. You can see how the red blood cells squeeze themselves through the capillaries. So this picture shows the power reservoir function of the elastic arteries. So the arteries are of different types. One of the arteries is called as the elastic artery, and the other one is the muscular artery. In this picture, you can see how the arteries play a very important role. So the biggest artery is called as the aorta. So you can see the two different pictures. That is when the arteries and the aorta stretch during ventricular contraction, and how they recoil and relax during ventricular relaxation. So the ventricular contraction is called as systole, and ventricular relaxation is called as the diastole. So how the blood is ejected from the left ventricles, and the arterioles play a very important role. That is, the aorta plays a very important role. Aorta is one of the best example for elastic artery, and they help in the propelling of the blood to the different parts of the body as they are ejected from the heart. So the aortic valves stretch to a long extent, and they can accommodate a large amount of blood. So the surge of blood which is coming out of the ventricles can be accommodated by the elastic nature of the aorta as they stretch, because they have elastic fibers. They momentarily store the mechanical energy, and they act as a reservoir, that is a pressure reservoir for the blood. During ventricular diastole, the elastic fibers of the aorta recoil and convert the stored potential energy into the kinetic energy of the blood. The blood then continues to move through the arteries and the different parts of the body when the ventricles are relaxed. These elastic arteries conduct the blood from the heart to another medium-sized arteries called as the muscular arteries, and so the elastic arteries are called as the conducting arteries. These are the different types of blood vessels. They are the arteries, anastomos, arterioles, capillaries, veins, and venules. First, we'll see what are the arteries. Arteries are of different types: elastic arteries and the muscular arteries. The example for elastic arteries are aorta and pulmonary artery. The example for muscular arteries are femoral artery, brachial artery in the arms, and the radial artery of the forearm. The arteries are very bigger in size, and you can see the previous pictures, they are thicker than the veins. So the three layers are very typical, and they are having a very high muscular to elastic strength, so that they can stretch to a greater extent. So they are called as the elastic fibers. They have a plenty of elastic properties, and they have high compliance, just like the lungs, which can hold a huge amount of air. The arteries have huge compliance. That is, they can expand or stretch to a larger extent in response to a stimuli and in response to a particular pressure. So they are controlled by the sympathetic fibers of the autonomic nervous system. So the sympathetic fibers of the autonomic nervous system innervate the smooth muscles of the blood vessels. There are two terms called as the vasoconstriction and vasodilation. So vasoconstriction is the result of the increase in the sympathetic stimulation. That is, when the sympathetic nerves are stimulated, they will stimulate the smooth muscles to contract. So which will lead to the squeezing of the blood vessel and narrowing the lumen. This is called as the vasoconstriction, where the diameter of the lumen constricts or decreases. So in contrast, what happens when the sympathetic stimulation is inhibited, or in the presence of certain chemicals like the nitric acid, or increase in H plus ion concentration, or presence of lactic acid, the smooth muscle fibers relax. This is called as vasodilation. This vasodilation, from the word itself you can understand that there is an increase in the lumen or the diameter of the blood vessel. Elastic arteries are the largest arteries of the body, and a best example given is aorta and pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery is very very big, as the diameter is equal to the hose of a garden hose pipe, and the aorta you can relate it to the finger size, that is the size is related to the finger. So they have a larger diameter among all the arteries, but you can see the blood vessels walls are relatively thin. The elastic nature of these arteries are because of the well-defined internal and external elastic media. The vessels are very well characterized by the internal and the external elastic media, along with the very thick tunica media. And this tunica media contains elastic fibers called as the elastic laminae. The important property of the elastic arteries are they propel the blood from the heart, from the ventricles, and they pass through the cerebellular valve into the pulmonary trunk and the aorta. So this is a very very important function of the elastic artery. The muscular arteries are medium size. They are smaller than the elastic arteries. So because their tunica media contains more of smooth muscles and fewer elastic fibers, so they do not have the elastic properties just as much as the elastic arteries. So they have a large amount of smooth muscles. About 3/4 of the total mass is made up of the smooth muscles, and they are relatively thicker. The muscular arteries have a well-defined internal elastic lamina but a very thin external lamina. So they form a very important boundaries of the muscular arteries. So the sizes vary in bigger to the medium or smaller sized arteries. The thick arteries or the large arteries, muscular arteries, they contain a very thick tunica media, and they are made up of around 40 layers of the smooth muscles, that is they are circumferring the blood vessel, whereas the smaller arteries will have up to 3 layers. So because of this nature, they play a very very important role in vasoconstriction and vasodilation in order to adjust the rate of blood flow. They are actually called as the distributing arteries. The elastic arteries are called as the conducting arteries, whereas the muscular arteries are called as the distributing arteries. Muscular arteries are very of varied sizes and ranges. So they may be thick or they may be thin. For example, they in the femoral and the axillary arteries, they are in the size is you can compare it with a pencil. Or when you take about the other arteries, there are string size, that is the string of a violin or string of a guitar. So the diameter is almost 0.5 millimeter in diameter. So they play a very very important role in distributing of the blood to the different parts of the body. The muscular arteries contain a very thick tunica externa when compared to the tunica media. So they have a thick tunica externa which is made up of fibroblast, collagen fibers, and the elastic fibers are very very small. Say though they do not contain as much as elastic fibers as the elastic arteries. So that is why they don't exhibit the elastic properties, and they lose the structure if they are stretched too long. Because of this presence of smooth muscles, fibroblast and collagen fibers, they exhibit a very important property called as the vascular tone. That is the toning of the blood vessel, and because of this reason they exhibit the vasoconstriction and vasodilation properties. The next blood vessel is called as the anastasmos. So when two or more branches of arteries supply the same body region, it is called as the anastasmos. So many tissues of the body receive blood from more than one artery. This is called as the anastasmos. Their main function is that they provide alternative routes for the blood to reach a tissue or the organ. If a blood flow to a particular tissue or organ stops for a short time because of some block or because of some disease or tissue injury or surgery, then the circulation of blood to that part of the body stops. The alternative route of the blood flow to the body part because of the block is called as the anastasmos. This particular anastasmos is called as the collateral circulation. So anastasmos can also occur between veins, two different veins or two different arterioles, and also between venules. Arteries that do not anastasmos or do not provide an alternative route are called as end arteries. So they do not supply a double route or an alternate route to that particular tissue. This is called as the end arteries. So obstruction of an end artery, what will happen? The tissue will not receive blood vessel. It will interrupt the blood supply to the whole part of the body, or whole part of the organ or a particular tissues. So when the blood supply is cut because of the end osmosis or end arteries, this will lead to the necrosis or death of that particular tissues. Next is the arterioles. Arterioles are the smallest branches of the arteries. So they are actually microscopic in nature. These arterioles then branch into capillaries. Capillaries then unite to form the venules and veins. So from this picture you can see the arterioles, capillaries and the venules, which then connect to the veins. Arterioles are the branches of the arteries which are smaller in size and they are microscopic in nature, and they have a thin tunica interna with, you can see, a lot of pores. On the surface you can see a lot of pores or fenestrations which will allow the exchange of nutrients or materials across the wall. They have an internal elastic lamina, that is, the internal elastic lamina is highly porous in nature, and they have a terminal end. So tunica media, you can see from the picture, consists of one or two layers of smooth muscle cells that are oriented in a circular fashion, and you can see the meta-arteriole. So you can see the arteriole is made up of inner endothelium and external smooth muscle fibers, and the arteriole they branch into capillaries. So you can see the meta-arteriole, they branch into smaller capillaries, that is the capillary bed. The capillary bed consists of the pre-capillary sphincters and the capillaries, and then the post-capillary venule, which flow into the venules and then to the vein, and the blood is taken to the heart. So this picture you can see the flowing of the blood through the capillaries when the sphincters are relaxed on the left hand side and the sphincters are contracted on the right hand side. You can see the passage is the thoroughfare passage or thoroughfare channel when the sphincter muscles are contracted. The sphincter muscles of the capillaries are contracted. You can see the blood can still flow through the system of a channel called as the thoroughfare channel. Arterioles play a very important role in regulating the blood pressure or the blood flow from the arteries into the capillaries. So they regulate a phenomenon called as resistance. It is the opposition of the blood flow. So because of this they are called as the resistance vessel. So the arterioles are called as the resistance vessel. So in a blood vessel, resistance is because of the friction between the blood and the inner wall of the blood vessel. So when the blood vessel diameter is smaller, then the friction is greater. So it offers more resistance to the flow of blood. Contraction of the smooth muscle of an arteriole causes vasoconstriction. So vasoconstriction increases the resistance even more than the ordinary flow and decreases the blood flow into the capillaries. And in contrast, the relaxation of the smooth muscle of an arteriole causes vasodilation. So vasodilation decreases resistance and increases the blood flow into the capillaries. So the arterioles are controlled by sympathetic nervous system. So they are also controlled by local mediators like nitric oxide, etc. and the change in the diameter of the arteriole can affect the blood pressure. So the vasoconstriction and vasodilation affect the diameter of the blood, that is the blood pressure is altered by the dilation and constriction of the arterioles. So the very important blood vessel is the capillaries. The next one is the capillaries. They are hair-like in nature. They are the smallest of the blood vessels and they have a diameter of 5 to 10 micrometer. So they form a very important network to the entire body. It's because they are in close contact with the cells, individual cells through the intercellular spaces, that is the interstitial fluids which are present in between the cells. So capillaries form an extensive network of blood vessels. Approximately they are around billions, that is they are around 20 billions in number. Some are very short, highly branched and interconnecting vessels that pass through every part of the body. So this forms an enormous network of blood vessels across the body, and they increase the surface area of the blood vessel so that they can make individual contact with the body cells. So the flow of the blood vessel from blood from the arteriole, it flows into the meta-arteriole and then through the capillaries and then into the post-capillary venule. So they are actually guarded by sphincters, and this particular system you can see in the center, that is the stretch between the arteriole and the venule, is called as a microcirculation. So they form the important microcirculation of the body, whose primary function of the microcirculation is to exchange the substance between the blood and the interstitial fluid. That is why they are called as the exchange vessel. So this is the actual place where the exchange of nutrients takes place. So this is very important because the structure of the capillaries is very well suited for the exchange of nutrients, because they are very thin in nature when compared to the arteriole and the venules and the vein, because they lack both the tunica media and the tunica externa. They have only the tunica interna, and they can exchange, they form a very important wall for the exchange of nutrients. So because the capillary walls, they are composed of a single layer of endothelial cells and a basement membrane, the substances easily pass through one cell layer. That is, they form a uniform single cell layer, and they can pass the nutrients and the gases from the capillaries into the interstitial fluid and then to the tissue cells. So the exchange of materials occurs through the walls of the capillaries and not through the other blood vessels. Even though the walls of the arterioles and venules are thinner, they do not actually transport or exchange the nutrients. So they act as a barrier for the exchange of the nutrients. So capillaries form an extensive branching network that increase the surface area available for the exchange of materials. So in most of the tissues, blood flows through only a small part of the capillary network, that when the metabolic needs are low. So it depends upon the metabolic needs of the body. In other parts where there is increased activity or a contracting muscle, when they require a high supply of energy, the capillary network is very big, or the capillary network is very high. The capillary network is entirely filled with the blood. So they form a very important functions of the circulatory system, and they are actually called as the capillary bed. So the capillary bed is a network of around 10 to 100 capillaries that arise from a single meta-arteriole. That is a capillary bed. From a single meta-arteriole, a network of around 10 to 100 capillaries arise. So this is seen in many regions where it requires an surplus supply of the food or the nutrients. So the capillaries, they are found in almost all the parts of the body, in almost near all the cells. But the number varies, as I told you, depending upon the muscular or the metabolic activity and the energy requirements. For example, the brain, the liver, and the kidneys and the nervous system, they have a high metabolic requirement and high metabolic activity. So these receive a higher supply of capillary network. They have an extensive capillary network whereas some tissues which are low in metabolic activity or metabolic requirement, for example ligaments or tendons, they have very few capillary network. In some tissues the capillary network are almost absent. For example, the cornea and the lens of the eye and the cartilage, the capillary network is almost absent. When the blood is flowing from the arteriole into the capillaries and then into the vein, they are actually controlled by different at different places. For example, the junction between the meta-arteriole and the capillaries, you have a lot of smooth muscle fibers called as the precapillary sphincters. So they control the flow of the blood through the capillaries. When the precapillary sphincters are relaxed or open, blood flows into the capillaries. And when these sphincters are closed or when they are in the contracted form, blood flow through the capillaries stops. So the blood actually flows in some capillaries in an intermittent fashion because of the alternating contraction and relaxation of the smooth muscles of the meta-arterioles and the sphincters. This intermittent contraction and relaxation can occur 5 to 10 times per minute, and it is called as the vasomotion. So in vasomotion, this can happen because of the release of chemicals by the endothelial cells, or for example nitric oxide. So the blood flows through these capillaries only to up to 25%. Another one you can see, that is thoroughfare channel. The thoroughfare channel will allow it is a channel which provides direct route for the blood from an arteriole to the venule, bypassing the capillaries. The body consists of three types of capillaries. They are called as the continuous capillaries, fenestrated capillaries, and the sinusoids. So many capillaries are continuous capillaries, where you can see the plasma membrane of the endothelial cells form a continuous tube and interrupted only by the intercellular cleft or the gap between the neighboring endothelial cells. You can see from the picture there are intercellular cleft. Except for this, the blood flow is continuous throughout these capillaries. So they are called as the continuous capillaries. And they are found in the brain, lungs, skeletal and smooth muscles, and also in the connective tissues. The next type of capillary is called as the fenestrated capillaries. From the word itself, you can understand that fenestration means pores, or they act as windows. So here the plasma membrane of the endothelial cells have many fenestrations or pores which are ranging from the diameter of 70 to 100 nanometer. So they are actually found in the kidneys, where the reabsorption is very essential, or you can see we have seen a lot of fenestrated in the glomerular capillaries. It is also found in the villi of the small intestine, choroid plexus of the ventricles in the brain, and also in the eyes and endocrine glands. Next is the sinusoid capillaries. So they are wider and more bigger in nature than the other capillaries. They have unusually large fenestrations. So here you cannot see the basement membrane. The basement membrane is incomplete or even absent. So these sinusoids have incomplete or almost nil basement membrane, and they have very big intercellular cleft. So the intercellular cleft are present in the sinusoids, you can see from the picture, and they allow the passage of the bigger substances like proteins. For example, in some cases, even blood cells will be allowed to pass from a tissue into the bloodstream. So newly formed blood cells can enter the bloodstream through the sinusoids of the red bone marrow. Apart from that, sinusoids contain specialized lining cells that are adapted to the function of the tissue. For example, the liver contains phagocytic cells that remove bacteria and other debris from the blood. The spleen also, the anterior pituitary and the parathyroid gland also have sinusoids. So usually blood passes from the heart and then it goes through the arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules and veins, and then back into the heart. So in some parts of the body, how the blood passes from one capillary network into another through a vein called as a portal vein. So this you could have studied elsewhere during digestion. Such a circulation is called as the portal system. So you would have studied about the hepatic portal circulation. The name, the portal system, is given to the second set of capillary that will pass through the particular tissue. So this is, you can see, in hepatic portal circulation, and also the hypophyseal portal system. So this particular slide shows the difference between the walls of the blood vessels, that is the walls. You can see the difference in the artery, what is the difference in the vein, and also the capillaries. You can see in the capillaries how the red blood cells squeeze through the diameter of the capillary lumen. So venules are the smallest veins. So they have a very thin wall, and they do not have a particular shape. The next one is the veins, and that is the venules. So venules are the arise from the capillaries, that is the capillaries unite to form venules, and the venules then unite to form the veins. So venules, what do? They initially receive the blood from the capillaries, and they are called as the post capillary venules. So they are the smallest venules, around 10 to 50 micrometer in diameter. They have loosely organized intercellular junctions, and they are also very porous in nature. So what is the function of the venules? So it is the main function of the venules is the actual site of exchange of nutrients and waste and white blood cell emigration. They are called as the microcirculatory exchange. So along with the capillaries, the venules are also involved in the microcirculatory exchange. So the venules, the post capillary venules continue to enlarge or unite, and they form the that is the veins. So veins are the next structures of the blood vessel that emerge from the venules. So they do not show structural changes as they increase in size from the small to medium to large. So they are not structurally as distinct as the arteries. So they have a relatively thin wall when compared to the arteries, and they have a very thin diameter also, that is the thickness of the lumen is very thin. So they range from a variety of sizes from around 0.5 millimeter in diameter in small veins, and up to 3 centimeter in diameter in larger veins that are entering the heart. So though the veins also have the same kind of walls, that is they are made up of the same 3 different layers of the walls, just like the arteries, the thickness of the walls are very they are not thick enough as like the arteries. They are thin. So you can see that the tunica interna and tunica media of the veins are thinner than that of the arteries, while they also have a very lesser amount of smooth muscles and elastic fibers. So tunica externa is the thickest layer among the three, among the tunica media and the tunica interna. So it is the tunica externa is the thickest layer, and they consist of collagen and elastic fibers. So veins that lack the internal or external elastic laminae are found in the arteries. So they are actually distensible enough to adapt to variations, that is they can withstand the pressure, that is they are not actually strong enough to withstand the blood pressure just as the arteries. So veins play a very important role in pumping the blood back into the heart for purification. So the major veins are called as the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava. So the pumping action of the heart is a major factor for moving the blood into the heart, that is the venous blood to the heart. So this is also helped by the contraction of the smooth muscles in the lower extremities or the limbs. So this will enable the pumping of the blood into the vena cava. So the blood pressure in the veins is considerably lower than in the arteries. So the difference in the blood pressure can be noticed very well in the veins, that is the veins have a lower blood pressure than the arteries. So this low blood pressure in the veins allows the blood that is returning to the heart to be very slow. And also this will prevent the backflow of the blood. You can see from the picture that the valves, there are many valves in the veins which will allow the blood to flow only in one direction, not the backflow of the blood. That is the blood flows through the vein only in one direction, that is towards the heart. So veins are also of different types. So they are sometimes called as vascular or the venous sinus. So venous sign is a vein with a thin endothelial wall, and they do not have smooth muscles. So this is called as a vascular sinus. So they surround the dense connective tissue, replacing the tunica media and the tunica externa for support. So next you can see that the other veins are called as the anastomotic veins. So these anastomotic veins cross the artery to form ladder like structure between the paired veins. So they are you can see superficial veins. So superficial veins are veins that are present on the subcutaneous layer of the muscles. And then you can see deep veins. So the deep veins are present in between the skeletal muscles. So the deep veins can communicate between the that is the deep and superficial flow of the blood in the skeletal muscles. So the amount of blood flowing through these superficial veins varies from location to location within the body. The superficial veins are much larger than the deep veins, and they actually act as a major pathway from the capillaries of the upper limb back to the heart. Whereas it is the reverse in the lower limbs. So in the lower limbs, the deep veins are very important. They serve as the principal return pathways than the superficial veins. Small anastomosing veins, they show one-way valve. They have one-way valve, and they will allow the passage of the blood from the superficial veins to the deep veins. But they will prevent the blood flow in the opposite direction. When the valves of the veins are become leaky, they will lead to varicose veins or varices. So these leaky venous valve will become that is the veins will become dilated and twisted in nature, and this can be seen in different parts of the body, but it is most common in the lower limbs and the superficial veins of the lower limbs and the esophagus. So this particular table shows the different features of the blood vessels. So the arteries are of two types, elastic arteries and the muscular arteries. So they are the elastic arteries are the largest arteries in the body, whereas the muscular arteries are medium sized arteries. And you can see the different layers of the tunica interna, tunica media and tunica externa. So the elastic arteries are well defined internal elastic lamina. The elastic and the muscular arteries have well defined internal elastic lamina, whereas you can see the tunica media, it is thick and dominated by elastic fibers. Here also both the elastic and the muscular arteries, they have well defined external elastic lamina but thin tunica media. So what is the function? The function of the elastic arteries are to conduct blood from the heart to the muscular arteries, whereas the muscular arteries, they distribute blood to the arterioles. So the elastic arteries are called as the conducting arteries and the muscular arteries are called as the distributing arteries. So arterioles are microscopic in nature. The diameter is around 15 to 300 micrometer, and the tunica interna is very thin with many pores or fenestrations. Whereas the tunica media, one or two layers of circularly oriented smooth muscles are present in the tunica media, and they form, that is most of it is made up of smooth muscles. They form a precapillary sphincter. And the tunica externa is made up of loose collagenous connective tissue, and it is innervated by sympathetic nervous system. The function of the arterioles is to deliver blood to the capillaries and help regulate the blood flow from the arteries and to the capillaries. Capillaries are microscopic in nature and they are the smallest blood vessel, around 5 to 10 micrometer in diameter, and the tunica interna, that is they have only endothelium and basement membrane in the tunica interna. They do not have a tunica media, or tunica externa is absent. So the function of the capillaries is the exchange of nutrients and waste material between the blood and the tissues through the interstitial fluid. The post-capillary venules are microscopic in nature, around 10 to 50 micrometer in diameter. They have that is endothelium and basement membrane just like the capillaries, but they do not have the tunica media, and the tunica externa is also sparse. The function of the post capillary venules is to pass blood into the muscular venules, permit exchange of nutrients and waste between the blood and the interstitial fluid, and function in white blood cell emigration. The muscular venules are microscopic in nature. The diameters may vary from 50 to 200 micrometer, and they also have a endothelium and basement membrane, one or two layers of circular smooth muscles, and the tunica externa are very little. So the main function of the muscular venules is to pass blood into the veins. So they fuse from the capillaries and they pass or the transport blood from the venules to the capillary, that is the capillaries and venules into the veins. So this is the main function. Next is the vein. Vein is slightly bigger than the venules. They range from around 0.5 millimeter to 3 centimeter in diameter, and the tunica interna consists of endothelium, basement membrane. There are no elastic lamina. It contains valves, and the lumen is larger than the than in accompanying artery. So they have much thinner tunica media, and the thickest of the, that is the tunica externa is thickest. So the main function of the veins is return blood to the heart. So they are actually guarded by valves in the veins, that is in the limbs, so that it will allow the blood to flow from the limbs, that is the extremities of the body, to the heart, and not the backflow of the blood. Next, we will see the distribution of the blood in the cardiovascular system and the different hemodynamics associated with that.